Hello, everybody. So, Ms. Marquita, who's the CEO of the Urban League, could not make it. Unfortunately, she had a knee injury. She is unfortunately at the hospital because she cannot walk. So we have to do a little bit of improvisation. So we are going to improv. One of the Urban League employees who works very closely with her on this is going to speak on her behalf. So we have a little video, and then we will talk about our team, and then just talk about the process and our vision. So if they can kick the video off, that would be great.
Bear with me, because I am no orator, but I am a community member and I care about this community. I'm here on behalf of Ms. Marquita, as PJ said, but again, I'm no orator, but I'm going to share this vision. You went through our agenda. You can go ahead on to the next slide.
We soldiers, man. Let's stop hurting each other and let's get it right, man. Today is the day we're gonna stand up for our community, man.
Yeah, we can do this, we can do more. We just gotta continue on pushing and don't give up.
That's right, man.
He did what? Daddy changed the world.
The main purpose of that video was to show that the death of George Floyd, it ignited change makers, activists, and civil servants in 2,000 cities in all 50 states. It fueled righteousness, loud, necessary protests in over 60 countries, police reform in 20 states, and several proposed bills in his honor. Next slide, please. So the city brought us all here for this purpose to take over and rebuild the People's Way gas station that was occupied. The main four values that we heard from the community after doing our research was to repair the collective harms of racism and center the needs of the people in the community of George Floyd Square, and honor the life and the death of George Floyd, respect the George Floyd Square as an active memorial. Next slide, please. So this was our development proposal. So we will be building a museum in his honor, just to honor the life and death of him, and also just the life of all the people that have been brutally, taken from us from police brutality and civil rights activations as well. We will continue the garden that has already been installed there. My brother actually was one of the first people to install the garden. He's a horticulturalist from the University of Minnesota. So it is near and dear to my heart that that space is honored. We will also build multi-purpose community spaces. I know one of the gentlemen's already said there's community spaces here, but you can never have enough community and enough space for our talent to be showed and showcased all around the world. And then according to the RFQ, they needed a public restroom, so we did include that into our proposal just to make sure that we were covering all the bases. Next slide, please. So the building usage, so we will provide the George Floyd Museum and Memorial Tours. There will be the George Floyd Theater Project, so that would be providing a stage, black box style, so it can be transformed into different stage needs, whether it be dance, whether it be theater, just so that the community can have a variety of options that they can perform in that space. The People's Way Working Group and the community members will be allowed to continue their mutual aid We will work with them to decide whether that is continued to be outside or if they want to house that inside of the museum or inside one of the spaces that we provide. And then, of course, ULTC, the Urban League Twin Cities, will provide some of the services that we are already currently providing. We have the Workforce Solution and Job Training, Black Gems Youth Program. It's a college and career readiness program. There's a lot of programs that kids are involved in, so we would just want to make sure that they are available and they know about those resources. The home ownership resources and the community caring for its children are also some of the resources that Urban League and currently offers. This is, mostly built to make sure that we are sustaining the building, because, 1 year museums may be popular, but the next year they're like, well, we don't want to fund museums. Then what happens? So we have these other programs that will aid to the sustainability, just in case, something else happens. We have different avenues of revenue and resources. And this has been proven at the Minneapolis location in North Minneapolis. So it's a sustainable model that's been around for a long time. And then we have our project leadership and our partners. We have some of the best people standing here next to me. They know what they're doing, they're professionals, and it's been an honor just to see their process and just to work with them thus far. So I will step aside for a little bit and let them introduce themselves to you. So just for who we are, we have LSE Architecture as the architect firm. And he's in association with Sebastian Nicole Brown. We have Nor Companies, and we have PJ Hill Enterprises.
Good evening. My name is Mohammed Lawal. I'm the principal architect and CEO of Lawal Scott Erickson Architects. I'm from Minneapolis, grew up 540 Humboldt Avenue North. I've been practicing architecture for 34 years here in the state. I'm probably one of the longest standing black architects in the state. Thank you. With me is
Hello, my name is Sam Earl Phillips. I am a resident of Powderhorn. I've lived in the community for 12 years. I've known this great gentleman here for 21 years now. He was my mentor in college, and I work in the education studio at LSE Architects. I've designed a lot of K-12 educational spaces, as well as higher ed, community centers, and things of that nature.
Thank you, Sam. We've all been impacted as a community by what happened, the murder of George Floyd. And our role as the architect is to help with transforming and understanding the vision that the Urban League and the community has. We've gone through and read many of the meeting notes that occurred over the last 3 years, the last year, and have tried to incorporate some of the things in our thinking about how we'd approach understanding things. I didn't bring a couple pieces there in my truck. One thing that's really important for me as an architect is to try to heal myself. So I was up all night last night, put together a collage and a painting, but we'll show that at another time. It was about letting it out for myself so that I could understand how to work with others to try to help heal. A couple things. One of the things in our proposal is a museum. And there are a lot of examples of museums. There was one that I was at this summer that coincidentally the Urban League talked to me about, and we didn't know that we were both there 2 days apart from each other. It's in Cape Town, South Africa. It's called the District 6 Museum, and it's about healing from apartheid. They have people from the neighborhood. I found this out. I was halfway through the tour, and the gentleman that gave me the tour, it was his family that was displaced. 5 minutes. Okay, we're gonna go on to Nawal.
You set me up properly. Well, good evening. My name is Nawal Noor. I am the CEO and president of Noor Companies. This community is near and dear to my heart. I built the Hosmer Library, which is only a couple of miles from here, a couple of minutes from here. And I see Commissioner Connolly in the, thank you. And when Marquita called me about this project, I said, our mission as a company, Noor Companies, was really created to work on community-based projects that really make a difference. And one of the projects that we worked on right after the murder of George Floyd was bringing Target East Lake Street back to life because there were no groceries open for the entire community. And there were people who were elderly and community members that didn't have anything. And I worked with the City of Minneapolis, and I'm so grateful for a lot of the people that were here. And the city allowed us to do permit my design, which meant like we didn't even have to pull a permit. And they did it because we had built all this track record to work with the City of Minneapolis as a partner. And we brought that back in 3 months. And that was one of the first projects that I worked on right after the unrest. But I say that to say, we have a track record of delivering really high-quality projects, especially community-based projects that make a difference. This project hits right at home for me. And one of the things that really makes me really excited to be part of this team is, and LSE, my friend is going to talk about it a little bit, is we could have brought a vision for you of exactly what we're going to design. But there are projects like this where you cannot tell the community what the community wants. You have to understand what the community wants by doing community engagement that really, really hits home. And we're doing that with the Cultural Wellness Group right here, not too far from here, 3030 Nicollet. And I will tell you, I've been part of community engagement. I have never seen anything like it. And I'm so proud of that. And that's the kind of work that we want to bring as a team. And the Urban League is really important to me because, all of the groups that have presented are incredible, and all of them would do an amazing job. But I'll tell you one thing that's really important about the Urban League. It's a national organization. And relationships with Oprah Winfrey, doing the New York Museum, projects like this are gonna get us in front of the global road, like in front of the global perspective. We're going to be on TV. We have to deliver something that not only works for our community, but also really makes sure that the history and the challenges that happened and the pain that took place really have some place that people can go to remember that. And so my team is both part of the co-development with BJ Enterprises, but also the construction company. And we've done a lot of community-based projects. We just finished Walker West Music Center in St. Paul. We did Estes Funeral Chapel, which it's the only Black funeral home in the entire state of Minnesota, and I'm so proud of that, and we won an award for it. And Hosmer, we have an award for that as well. And so I just wanted to tell you, I'm honored to be here. I hope we're selected, but I just want to tell you, this is one of those projects that I hope that I get to be part of, and my team gets to be part of it, and to work with you as a community to hear what you want is really what I want. So thank you.
Excellent job, Noel. I'm PJ Hill, so longtime community member. I've been in this community, I'm third generation here. I see a lot of familiar faces, people that have been around the community and have poured into the community. One thing I want to say is, if you want to go fast, you go alone. But if you want to go far, you must go together. I think tonight is a unique opportunity, not only for us in the Urban League, but I think for all of the groups to combine and really get the project right that we need for the community. There are so many times where they put us against each other to try to who can offer up the best, but this is the time where us and Black excellence and Black liberation need to come together. And so that is really my message, why I wanted to be a part of this project. I think bringing forth the design at this point would be would just actually be horrible, because there's so many different perspectives in this community. And to do true community development, you need everybody to see themselves in this project. And that's what we want to do. Now, the reason why I decided to partner with the Urban League is because I understand from a development perspective that this takes a lot of money. This takes a lot of money. And there's going to not only be city money, state money, county money, but you're going to need private donors and private foundations in order to sustain this. And so the Urban League, with their national footprint, them having experience in other museums, really has impacted what we can do. So that's the last thing I want to say. And then I just want to end with this, that though we all have different stories, we share common hopes. Hopes to be able to provide for our family, hopes to have a safe environment to be able to raise our family. But I think the number one hope that we all share is, how do we leave our communities and our families a better place than we found it? We have an opportunity to do that with this project. Let's take control of our own narrative and let this be a beacon of hope to liberate us economically. Thank you.
Okay, so we have 8 minutes for questions. And so what we're going to do, because we did not get this handing off the notes thing work, right? So they will be in the audience. If you have a question, stand up and we'll have someone with the mic come over to you if you have a question.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for the presentation. So my question is, even though that you don't necessarily have specifics related to the actual footprint, which I think is beyond fair, has the group begun to talk about the range of the cost from acquisition to management of the property? That's the first part of the question. And because I think that really helps the community when you talk about an expensive project. For some, that could be an understatement based on how you respond to this question. And then has your group begun to discuss what your expectations are, or what you believe that municipalities' roles are in offsetting any phase of the expenses from acquisition to management, and specifically the programming component of what you imagine? So the first question again is, has your group begun to discuss the potential range of investment from acquisition to management? And then has your group given thought to what your expectations are for the different governmental agencies that you think should provide support to those costs?
Tab, that's an excellent question, and I can always count on you to ask the hard questions. So thank you. But yes, we have. I think you have to be very intentional when you build a group to think about that first. What's the cost? So you never step into a project without thinking about the cost. And so a combination of the team, and I think this is why we really thought the Urban League would be the right partner. So there is going to be a tremendous cost. The number one cost that I think a lot of people are not thinking about is to clean that site up. There's old gas tanks in there, so it's going to be millions of dollars just to clean it and get it to a stage where we can then develop it. So that is where we are going to lean on the city for different grants, the county, the state. It's going to have to be a collective effort. The project could be in upwards of 25 million, in all honesty, and then ongoing costs will be well over 500,000 to $1 million to be able to employ the staff that we need, continual funding to have the different programmings. So we have thought about that. As we go through this phase of doing community engagement and kind of honing in what the programs would be that the communities would like to see, then we'll be able to hone in those costs. But that's just a high-level estimate. There's going to have to be a lot of people involved, and we believe our connection with the Urban League and their experience in raising money, what they did in the Harlem Museum, the Civil Rights Museum, will give us a leg up in being able to raise that money, not only locally but nationally. That's a great question. No, it has not. So we have talked to different parties, but Obviously, this is a RFQ process, so as we get through the process, it's hard to raise money when you don't have site control of something. But as we've talked about from a community perspective, I've been with you in rooms trying to raise money just for that specific cultural corridor in that corner. So we're gonna lean on some of those funds, but we have not secured funds yet.
So Mark Morial, he's the president and CEO of the National Urban League. He has sent in his letter of support in raising funds and providing additional guidance, and that it was a part of our RFQ, our larger RFQ as well. So he does know about this project. He is passionate about this project, and he is all in with us and has, Ms. Marquita has his full support.
Hello? I'm Bobby Hall. I'm one of the chair liaison with one of the groups over here. And I've been listening to you guys. I really appreciate for what you're doing. I've been telling our group that we need a black architect and then black contractors and everything black. And there you are. I worked with structural engineering for a long time, and I had a black architect named Tyson. I think he passed away. He lived down by Lake of the Isles. We were real close together. And I'd be honored if you guys would come to one of our meetings on the third Saturday up at the church at Calvary Church, 3901. It would be 10 o'clock Saturday morning from 10 o'clock to 1 o'clock. And if we have to, we'd hire you or whatever we have to do, we can negotiate and work together. But I would like to set that opportunity up for our community, for you guys to come and join us.
Thank you. We will take you up on that. We'll make sure Muhammad connects with you right after this. We appreciate that, brother.
Thank you, brother.
Come to me. Come to me.
I think you're spot on, man. Before I came up here, I talked to Dr. Raj in the back, who has worked with the NAACP for a long time. I was the vice president of Minneapolis NAACP. I debated on whether I was going to say that or not, because a lot of what's going on is divisive to our community. This is the one time where we got to be collective, and we have a chance to really shape what that corner looks like. If you go 10 blocks up from 38th in Chicago and go to 48th in Chicago, it doesn't look nothing like 38th in Chicago. And it's been 5 years. And it's people like Reggie and Bridget who've been out there every day, Marquise. It's been a lot of people, Miss Gatekeeper. It's been a lot of people out there every day, Janelle. A lot of us who have been in this community and then doing things, but, operating in our own way of how we do things. This is our opportunity right now to be collective and make an ask that's so big, but that's what we need for this community.
Just a couple of questions. So what is your guys' timeline looking like so far?
That's a great question. So I think the timeline is really going to depend on how fast the city moves to this RFQ. So we can't do nothing until they make a selection, and then they give us site control, and then we can get into our development timeline. That's how the process really goes.
So just development, how long would that take?
Yeah, 18 to 24 months. It's going to take a while because of the cleaning of the site. You have to get the site ready to really be done.
And then how open to the public will this space be, and are there going to be any restricted areas?
Do not have an exact answer to that, but this is a public space. This is why we're building it like this. And I think this is what the city had intentions on by making a nonprofit own it. So this is a place for the people, by the people.
Perfect. And then do you guys have an auditing trail to make sure that funds are correctly used?
This is why we're using the Urban League. They're certified 501c3, not only locally, but nationally. So we will be working with professional auditors, have a CPA firm, so that way we know that there is a paper trail of all of the funds. So we're transparent with the community.
Hi there. Thank you. You have a really impressive team, and thank you for an excellent presentation. As we're directly across the street from the Sharon Sales Belton Center, which used to be the home of the Urban League in the neighborhood, I'm wondering how you can ensure that what happened with that building does not happen with this one. Will you be placing it in trust somehow? Like, how are we going to make sure that this stays here for the community?
You know, I don't want to speak on behalf of Urban League, so, because I have no experience with that, but that is a great question. I think we will have to follow up with you, and usually I don't say that, but I know that the people involved in this, we are going to make sure that it's community-owned and community-driven all the time. And I think everybody in this room who is part of the community will not allow them to make it any other way.
Thank you very much, Urban League, Twin Cities.